My name is Ada. I am 10 years old, and this is the story of the day my world changed forever. I grew up in a small village surrounded by the laughter of my friends, the gentle hum of the wind through the trees, and the warmth of my family. Every morning, I would wake up to the sound of birds singing outside my window, and the smell of my mother's cooking drifting through our home. My days were filled with simple joys, playing hide and seek with my friends, helping my mother fetch water from the well, and listening to my grandmother's stories by the fire at night. I never imagined that one day I would have to leave all of this behind.
In a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and endless fields, life moved at its own gentle pace. The sun would rise slowly, casting golden light over the thatched roofs and waking the village to another day. Children's laughter echoed through the narrow paths as they played games, their bare feet kicking up dust. Mothers gathered at the well, sharing stories and news, while fathers tended to the fields or repaired fishing nets by the riverbank. The village was a tapestry of sounds and colors, woven together by the bonds of family and friendship. For Ada, this was the only world she had ever known, a world that felt safe, familiar, and full of love. But on this particular morning, something was different. Ada walked slowly down the dirt road, a woven basket balanced carefully on her head. Her steps were heavy, not from the weight of the basket, but from the uncertainty that filled her heart. She glanced back at her home, memorizing every detail, the way the sunlight danced on the walls, the sound of her little brother's laughter, the smell of wood smoke in the air. Today, Ada's life was about to change in ways she could not yet understand. She was leaving behind the only home she had ever known, stepping into a future that was both exciting and frightening. As Ada prepared to leave, tears welled up in her eyes. She tried to be brave, to smile for her mother and her friends, but the sadness was hard to hide. She clutched her favorite doll tightly, a gift from her grandmother, and took a deep breath. Despite the tears, there was a glimmer of hope in her heart, a tiny spark that told her maybe, just maybe, this new journey would bring something good. Her friends gathered around her, offering hugs and words of encouragement. "We'll miss you, Ada," they whispered, their voices trembling. Ada wiped her tears and managed a small smile, determined to remember this moment forever. Inside their modest home, Ada's father knelt beside her, his strong hands gently resting on her shoulders. "You are brave, my daughter," he said softly, his eyes shining with pride and sadness. "Your uncle in the city will take care of you. You will go to school, learn new things, and make us proud." Ada nodded, trying to be strong for her family. Her mother hugged her tightly, whispering words of love and reassurance. "Remember, no matter where you go, you carry our love with you," she said. Ada's little brother tugged at her dress, not fully understanding why his sister had to leave. The family gathered together, holding each other close, drawing strength from their love and the hope that Ada's journey would lead to a brighter future. With her small bag in hand and her heart full of memories, Ada took her first steps toward the unknown. The village gathered to see her off, their faces a mix of pride and sorrow. As the old bus rumbled down the dusty road, Ada pressed her face to the window, watching her home grow smaller and smaller in the distance. She felt a wave of sadness, but also a sense of determination. She was leaving behind everything she knew, but she carried with her the love of her family, the lessons of her village, and the hope that one day she would return stronger and wiser. This was the beginning of Ada's journey, a journey that would test her courage, shape her dreams, and change her life forever.
"You'll be safe here now, my daughter."
Ada became a maid in her own father's house, but, she never stopped dreaming.
Whispers to herself, one day I'll be more than this.
Hardship didn't break her. In fact, it did the opposite. Every challenge she faced, every setback that threatened to hold her back, became a stepping stone. She learned to turn pain into power, and obstacles into opportunities. The world tried to tell her who she could be, but she decided to write her own story. She didn't just survive, she thrived, growing stronger and more determined with every passing year. The glow you see now isn't just about success or status. It's about resilience, about the quiet strength that comes from refusing to give up, no matter how tough things get. She's proof that the hardest moments can shape us into our best selves if we let them. She's the kind of person who inspires others just by walking into a room. Her presence is magnetic, her confidence hard-won, but it wasn't always this way. There were nights filled with doubt, days when the weight of the world felt unbearable. She remembers the moments when she almost gave up, when the dream seemed too far away and the odds stacked too high. But she kept going, she kept believing. And slowly, the world began to change around her, reflecting the light she carried within.
When life knocks you down, you gotta rise up, because your story isn't over. Not yet. Every chapter you live, every lesson you learn, adds to the richness of your journey. It's easy to look at someone's success and think it happened overnight, but real growth takes time. It takes courage to get back up after a fall, to keep moving forward when the path isn't clear. She's living proof that you can turn your struggles into strength and your dreams into reality. So if you're facing hard times, remember, you're not alone. The story isn't finished. There's still so much more ahead, more victories, more lessons, more reasons to keep going. Stand tall, keep shining, and let your glow up be the answer to every doubt you've ever faced.
Meanwhile, far from the moments of triumph and hope that had once defined their lives, those who had once caused her pain now found themselves facing struggles of their own. The tables had turned in ways they never could have anticipated. Life, with its mysterious sense of balance, seemed to be quietly orchestrating a lesson in humility and empathy. As the days passed, the weight of their choices began to settle in. The laughter that once filled their home was replaced by silence, punctuated only by the soft sighs of worry and the quiet shuffling of feet. The walls, which had once echoed with confidence and certainty, now seemed to close in, heavy with the burden of regret. Bills piled up on the kitchen table, each envelope a stark reminder of opportunities lost and bridges burned. The refrigerator, once stocked with abundance, now stood nearly empty, its shelves holding only the bare essentials. The children, once carefree and full of dreams, pressed their faces against the window, watching other families pass by, their eyes filled with longing for a life that now seemed just out of reach. In the evenings, the family gathered in the dim light of their living room, the air thick with unspoken fears. The father, once proud and unyielding, stared at a faded photograph, his mind replaying moments when a kinder word or a helping hand might have changed everything. The mother, her strength tested by hardship, did her best to comfort her children, even as tears threatened to fall. Outside, the world moved on, indifferent to their struggles. Neighbors who had once sought their company now passed by without a second glance, their faces turned away. The sense of isolation grew, making each day feel longer than the last. And so, as the family grappled with the consequences of their actions, a quiet realization began to dawn. Life, it seems, has a way of bringing things full circle. The pain they had once inflicted had returned, not out of vengeance, but as a gentle, persistent reminder that every choice carries weight, and that empathy, once neglected, is often the very thing we find ourselves needing most.
No one should suffer what I did, but honestly, I won't let hate define me.
Forgiveness in the end frees the soul.